It is time once again to delve into the beautiful land of actually autistic TikToks. You know what? It is usually quite beautiful, okay? I joke about TikTok, but I actually see a lot of really great things that autistic people post online that I'm actually very grateful for. So,
what happened if everybody faked autism?
okay, this first one's a good response to the last video that we did. So it's like, what would happen if everybody faked autism?
Hi, I have autism. Okay.
That wink. That wink. I feel like I should start doing that to people if I tell them I'm autistic, just to see what reaction I get. Because that's kind of how people see it anyway. Even without the wink is implied because they always say things like, you don't look autistic, which is kind of code for, I don't really believe you. I like her snake earrings. They're very cool. I used to have some that were like a spiral.
So what do I get? Well, you could get some noise-canceling headphones, more alone time. You could get some notification before a big change happens. I'm not really interested in any of that. What about attention?
This is just so good. Yeah, this is so true. What do you think we get? How would I benefit from pretending I'm autistic? I don't really know. Sometimes just very difficult for people, and I would include myself in that, to imagine experiences that are not your own, but we must try and try not to shut people down when they're talking about things that we don't know a lot about.
What about attention? Can I get attention? Yeah, I mean, you could get people invalidating your experience, generally with a lot of rage, or you could have pity and infantilization. Is that the kind of attention?
That's always the big fear with disclosing. It's the infantilization. Either being seen as somebody who's crazy and diagnoses himself with things, I'm thinking kind of in like a medical setting, say, or being seen as, oh, you're autistic, so therefore you're going to understand less what I'm trying to say to you, because I already feel like it as like a small, quietly spoken woman when I go into the doctor's office sometimes. I feel like I have to kind of push more to have my self-heard. I mean, I think that can just be a lot of people's experience in general with doctors. I've seen it happen to my husband as well before. If I tell them that I'm autistic as well, I'm like, you already don't believe me when I tell you things. Like, could you possibly believe me any less? Maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, that is a little bit of a fear. Also, disclosing at a job. What if they then saw you as less capable somehow, or start seeing things that you do through a different lens, and then maybe it wouldn't have bothered them before, but now they're like, oh, you're just doing that because you think you can get away with it because you've told me you're autistic. Sometimes I feel like telling people about a diagnosis, it gets people's back up a bit sometimes, and they kind of will call you out and be like, well, you didn't used to do that before. And sometimes it's something that you really did used to do before, and it used to be a problem before. But now they just know why, and they're just mad that they can't be as mad at you about it anymore because they realize it's kind of, you know, not something that you can particularly help. I'm talking about things that are, you know, not harmful, like niggly annoyances maybe. And I feel like sometimes it feels a little bit like people are kind of extra defensive once they know.
Well, that doesn't sound fun at all. What about like accommodations, extra support, medication? Yeah, you're gonna need a formal diagnosis for that. Do you have that? Oh, no, I don't have that.
Exactly. What do people think you're gonna get by just telling people you're autistic but not being officially diagnosed? Because there are so many barriers to actually getting this support. You're not gonna get anything without a lot of effort. You know, you'd have to be really committed to the cause to actually get some pretty basic help.
What about just like community, people who really understand me? Yeah, sure, you could be with autistic people talking about experiences that you also experience. Yeah, that actually doesn't sound like fun because I'm faking autism for some reason.
Oh my gosh, that was really good. That summed up everything that I was trying to say when I responded in the last TikToks video, when I responded to one from Venus Frog Trap, I think it was. They have like the best rants ever. They were ranting about faking autism. It was like a masterpiece rant. Anyway, yeah, that basically summed up everything that I feel about it as well. It's really frustrating that sometimes you need an official diagnosis for accommodations. You know, just like basic things like a bit of extra time in exams. There are so many people who have things that are diagnosable who just don't know or have been misdiagnosed. I just feel like we should support people in general. Everybody is different and everybody has things that they struggle with. Chloe Hayden being very on my brand and wearing a yellow dress. Love it. I don't know if I can play the music, but I love it. The caption is, I've trained 25 years for this. So if you didn't know, Chloe Hayden has a special interest, which is quite a common one, in the Titanic. And I did think about her when I heard the story. I was like, I wonder what Chloe thinks of this. She does come to mind. I did think of you, Chloe. If you haven't read Chloe's book, Different Not Less, I'll leave a link to it down below, and it'll be an Amazon affiliate link. So if you buy anything on Amazon, if you got anything you needed to buy on Amazon, if you buy anything through the link, I think it's in the 24 hours after clicking the link, then the channel will get a little tiny little commission that Amazon won't get. It doesn't charge you anymore, but it, gives more money to me and not Amazon. Chloe's book, no matter where you want to buy it from somewhere else, get it from the library. That's a good idea. It's right over there and I want to reach for it, but I don't want to go out of focus. If you found my burnout story video helpful, I think you'd really enjoy this book. She talks a lot about school. She had some severe, scary level of bullying, and she got to a point where a psychologist said to her parents, if you do not take your daughter out of school, you will not have a daughter. And when I heard that, when I was listening to the audiobook, I was cleaning up in my son's room and I was just bursting into tears, because that was how it was for me, basically. And it's just so sad. It's so sad that we have such an awful experience in education. Obviously Chloe is incredible and has gone on to do so many incredible things and be an amazing advocate who makes me feel really proud to be autistic. I wonder what it is about the Titanic. It is cool. This is one of the things where I feel like it wasn't a special interest for me, but like it could have been, and I kind of wish it had been, and maybe in another life. I remember being really young, maybe 9-ish, and being in a charity shop, and they had a book. It was about the Titanic, and at the back I think it was like a list of names of everybody who was on the Titanic, something like that. And I was just like, whoa, that is the coolest thing ever. I was blown away. I don't think I bought the book, but I kind of really wanted it. I feel like maybe that's a sign that in a different life that could have been me. Any other Titanicers out there, let me know. It's definitely a special interest that I can salute and respect. Okay, we've got Purple Ella. I didn't realize Purple Ella was on TikTok. That's exciting.
Let's talk Gen X. I am a Gen Xer. I was born in 1978, which makes me a baby of my generation.
Gen X is my parents' generation. That's so weird, because I feel like my mom has a young energy as well. She's an artist, she doesn't really age, but Ella just has like such a youthful kind of energy. I can't imagine Ella ever getting old.
And I'm seeing a lot of people talking about how Gen X are really tough. We were out first thing in the morning till last thing at night. Our parents didn't know where we were. We don't need a safe space to cry in. We know the meaning of a hard day's work. Good for you.
Are Gen X the new boomers? My mom thought she was a boomer. She was like really offended, and I was like, you're not a boomer.
I'm glad you're okay. I'm not okay. I am autistic and ADHD, and I am queer. And I was obviously different, and I really struggled in an environment that didn't acknowledge or support differences. I was relentlessly bullied throughout secondary school by not just the kids in the school, but also the teachers, who told me that I was asking for it by...
Yes, I had this happen quite a lot. I had a lot of teachers who just weren't very sympathetic, but then also teachers who really didn't get me and got angry with me about the fact they didn't get me, even though I was quite a quiet, well-behaved person who just sat and did everything they were supposed to do most of the time. For like a year of my life, I used to film a vlog clip when I got home every day where I just kind of rant about my day. I put a few of them in my autistic burnout story video. Me with my little crazy like Alice from Twilight hair. There's one clip I found where I was talking about a PE lesson where a teacher had been yelling at me because I'd been struggling to hit the ball. I think we were playing, I don't know, quick cricket, I think I said it was, or something. Kept missing the ball. And then I think people were making comments like, oh, come on, Megan. Obviously, I have a dyspraxia diagnosis. Coordination and movement doesn't come particularly easily for me. The teacher started yelling at me as well and being like, Megan, you're not even trying, you're not trying. And then obviously that just eggs on all of the other people who are already picking on you.
I did actually try. I went up and tried to hit it and I missed it. The teacher went, Megan, you're not trying. So then when I was trying, she was going, no, you're not, do that again. So I did it again and missed again and was out again, and she was like, next. So see, I wasn't lying. You can't do the same badness twice if it's not a sincere badness.
I just feel like there were a lot of teachers who, I don't think they were necessarily always trying to be mean, but they just didn't understand me and therefore became frustrated with me and assumed that I was doing things badly deliberately. I mean, there's that attitude with everybody. There's that attitude with somebody who doesn't do well in maths, you know, you're not trying hard enough, you're lazy. It's not that maybe that's not the best thing for your brain, or also that maybe you're in a home situation that makes it difficult for you to study compared to other people. Maybe you have lots of siblings, maybe you don't have your own room. No, it's just that you're a shit person. Anyway, I hate this whole thing, like, back in our generation, we were so tough. No, back in your generation, you just internalized a lot of stuff that probably shouldn't have happened, and maybe if we can move towards a better world where that doesn't happen, that might be good. Like, things don't have to stay the same. Look back bloody 50 years, things are not the same. Things have come on a lot, probably due to a lot of whiny snowflakes who protested. So
being different, I struggled with being expected to go out and play in the streets first thing in the morning till last thing at night, because that's what everyone else was doing, because I was struggling.
I did not play outside at all. So like my dad left when I was 4 years old. We moved to South Africa for a bit and then we moved back to England. We didn't live in a great area. It was just me and my mom, and she didn't want me to play out because it was, you know, not the safest place to play. I didn't, and I'm very glad that nobody pushed me into doing that, and I was just allowed to sit on the computer and play Neopets. Anything else would have definitely negatively affected my mental health.
With the social dynamic of that, I was struggling with not being in my house doing what I needed to do to be regulated. I was struggling with being considered too sensitive and too much. It was a really difficult time for me to grow up, and I am still unpicking the trauma that I experienced.
And a good old autism diagnosis really makes you go back and start unpicking it all.
During that time, as a result of being at a time when nobody knew that someone like me could be autistic, when it was still completely acceptable to shout homophobic slurs at me in the playground, when it was completely acceptable to basically shun and reject someone because they were different.
It makes me sad. It makes me sad because Ella's just so lovely.
All sunshine and rainbows and playing in the fields with the freedom that we had. For some of us, that was really tough. So let's acknowledge that if you got through as a Gen Xer unscathed and you're feeling great about that, I'm really happy for you. But that's a level of privilege that not all of us had.
Ella definitely didn't deserve that, and I think you have every right to be upset that those things happened to you and acknowledge that that wasn't great, and maybe for future generations we kind of don't do that. And Ella is just so lovely. They're so lovely with their children. They have autistic children. They have quite a few videos on the channel where they have their autistic children in the videos. They seem amazing. Ella seems like an amazing parent. You know, that's what we need. Let's like kind of not repeat the pattern. It wasn't good for a lot of people, and there are a lot of people in my family who are Gen Xers or older who would certainly have this attitude of like, yeah, we just need to push through. Don't be sensitive. You're being overly emotional. That was a kind of a big thing in my family. And, you know, my mom kind of did her best not to carry that on, but she's still affected by that to some extent. I'm sorry, like, yeah, you got through. You know, a lot of people in my family did accomplish big things. They had successful careers, but sometimes you look at it and you're like, at what cost? At what cost to you, and at what cost to the people around you? Can we acknowledge that it wasn't perfect? If you're not already subscribed to Ella, I'm going to leave their YouTube channel link down below. I'm sure you are. You've been going for a lot longer than I have, but still. Right, it's decided to mute it. Did I ask for that, love?
I had a comment on a video that really annoyed me. It was on a video I'd made about my past trauma and my autism and my ADHD and how it impacts me now. And it said that I shouldn't over-identify as a victim. This has been going around in my head for the last week since I read that comment, and I think I probably deleted it too, so sorry about that. I think there might be some truth in that.
Yeah, I get that. I get reading something and then you kind of have this like rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria sort of reaction of like, oh my god, the world's crumbling, everybody hates me because somebody's left, you know, some sort of mild criticism. But I think, yeah, definitely as you get older, it does get easier to just kind of be like, well, it's interesting, I read that and that doesn't make me feel great, maybe I'll just turn off now and stew on that a little bit. And then sometimes you come back and you feel like they've got a point, and sometimes you come back and you feel like you don't have a point, but thanks for leaving your opinion. I'll leave you a comment there and move on.
I think that I might be someone who does think too much about my past and my trauma and not look forward enough. And I think that that might make me someone who is a little bit moany at times, and I don't want to be that person anymore. So I am going to take the advice.
It's a bit hard to see that after watching the last one and everything that Ella said in the last one. And also, this is kind of like their job. That's what they do. They post content that is relatable and helpful to other neurodivergent people about struggles that they've had. So I don't know. But I suppose if that's kind of infiltrating a lot into your personal life, for me, that burnout story video, it's like I don't really want to dig up those skeletons too much. I kind of had to a bit around the time of getting the autism diagnosis, because you have to obviously talk about yourself. So you need to have those memories, you know, close at hand and have like kind of sifted through it so you know what you kind of want to talk about with the diagnostician. But like after a certain point, it's like, okay, I've dug up all of those painful memories. Now maybe I can just lay them to rest again and only pick them up again when I need to or when it's useful to.
To that person and not over-identify as a victim. like, listen, I don't think we should be denying people's trauma, and I'm not sure that we should be saying people are identifying as victims when they're talking about their trauma in general. But I think for me personally, it was actually a really helpful thing to hear, because life is short and I want to enjoy it. And so from now on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look forward. I am going to focus on the awesome person that I am now, and I am going to stop wailing about the crap that I deal with, because it doesn't change it. It won't mean that I'm not dealing with it anymore, and all it does is basically make me sad.
Oh, well, to be honest, those do not sound like the words of a victim. Like someone who's able to do that level of self-reflection. I don't think so. I think they have a lot to be proud of, to be honest. I kind of agree. Remember, I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert who said this a while ago. Is Elizabeth Gilbert ADHD? Don't know, potentially. I remember her talking about finding this place within yourself where you can step back when something bad is happening to you and be like, this is interesting. And just observe it like, how interesting it is that I'm going to get to go through this life experience. And she would use examples of applying it to like awful, incredibly traumatic events like, interesting, I get to live in this human body and have this specific human experience. I kind of had to do this when I first discovered that I'm autistic, because I remember feeling a bit like cheated when I first, was kind of starting to accept that it was true, and the imposter syndrome was starting to lift off a bit, and I was like, damn it, this is real. I kind of panicked and felt cheated out of a human life. I thought I was here living the life of a human, and you're telling me I'm living the life of an autistic as if it's a different species. Then I was like, that's ridiculous. Autistic people are people. You are a person. You are still you. I suppose I've been forced to mask more than I may have done otherwise. I mean, even then, it's an interesting experience. I have the experience of being a late diagnosed autistic person. Isn't that interesting? You don't always have to say I love it. You can say it's painful, but you can go, it is what it is, it's interesting. You only ever get one life experience. You only get to be one person with all of their flaws and strengths. As far as we know, unless we get reincarnated, this is the experience that we get. And, we're incredibly lucky to even be here. The odds of us being here are ridiculous. And we made it. We made it. Despite everything that's happened to us, all the interesting things, we made it. We're here. And if we didn't have the pain, we wouldn't be able to appreciate all of the good things that happen, etc., etc. An embarrassing number of people do not subscribe to this channel who watch the videos. And I don't know, it's probably because I don't say it, because I feel like it's a demand that I don't want to give people. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to, and you don't have to turn notifications on if you hate the noise of it going off as much as I do. But you can if you want to. I know some people do like to do it, so you can if you want. If you want more TikToks, I'll leave one linked on screen. It's all about faking autism and filming your children's meltdowns. Yay! Just a bunch of fun stuff. Very light.